So Concrete Cowboy was interesting. Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Picante J back at it again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the newly released Netflix movie Concrete Cowboy, starring Caleb, McLaughlin, and Idris Elba. Now, the breakdown of this movie goes like this. After getting in a lot of trouble at school, our main character Cole is sent to live with his dad named Harp. He reluctantly reunites with his dad, who has a horse in his living room. Not buying into his dad's hood-equestrian environment, he tries to find a way out. Along the way, he meets up with a longtime friend, Smush, played by Jarrell Jerome, and Smush tells him to stick it out. After trying to seek shelter elsewhere, he finds himself nose to nose with the horse named Boo, who has a history of aggressive behavior. After spending a night in the stables, he goes back to his dad. He finally tells him that he's now ready to actually work in the stables. Now, he begins work in the stables, and his job isn't that great. I mean, he's cleaning poop, but he's cleaning poop in Air Jordan 3s. So he goes through all that, and then later that night, all the adults in the town meet up at a bonfire and start having a discussion about the black history of cowboys. Now, during this conversation of their traditions and origins, they reveal that other industries in real estate were the main cause of pushing out the horses that were once needed in that area. But they vow to stay true to their stables and try to keep it alive. Wait, hold up. Is that Method Man? Like the Wu-Tang Method Man? Oh, excuse me, Clifford Smith. My bad, my apologies. But yes, Method Man, portraying Leroy, disrupts the conversation and brings up the importance of ownership if the other adults want to maintain their culture. Spontaneously, out of nowhere, the next day, Harp decides to put Paris, a rider who is now riding in a wheelchair, onto a horse. And this was the first time Paris has ridden a horse in a long time. You know, this is a very emotional moment in the movie. Everybody is cheering it on, except your boy Cole. Your boy Cole was a little pressed. He was a little mad about it. So Cole went back home and he let his dad have it. You know, he was really jealous about the situation. He was like, okay, I'm here. I want to ride a horse. But you putting this wheelchair dude on a horse, but not me, and I'm your son? After Cole's rant, Harp basically puts him back in his place and tells him not to hang out with Smush anymore, and also tells the full story of what happened between him and his mother. Now, as he's done 5 times already in this film, Cole hangs out with Smush, yet again, disobeying his father's orders. But in this moment, Smush reveals his plan to get out of Philly and actually buy land out west to renovate and flip. But that night, the aggressive horse Boo escapes and decides that he wants to go 9 innings on the diamond, and he wreaks havoc. Now this is where Cole earns his stripes and is able to calm down Boo, and everybody is impressed. Well, the next day, it turns out Cole's dad was actually right. Cole actually gets into a little trouble with Smush, but luckily they escape the danger. A few days go by, I think. I don't know what the timeline of the movie was, to be honest. I guess a few days later, the horses that are staying in these dilapidated stables are confiscated by the police under the suspicion of malnourishment. And you ain't gonna believe who the rat was. So as the night falls, Cole and Harp go on a heist mission and get the horses back. But do their efforts pay off in saving the stables? Now that you have to find out by watching the movie, because I don't want to spoil it. And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't mention. So if you actually are interested after hearing my breakdown, I recommend you watch this film. But now I'm going to get into the things that I liked about this film. So one thing I liked about Concrete Cowboy were a few editing sequences that reminded me of Requiem for a Dream a little bit. All right, there was this one car scene, like it only lasted like 30 seconds. But then there was the running scene that I don't know how they did it, but it was just fascinating to watch and very entertaining. I really like those shots. Now, another thing I liked about this movie was Jarrell Jerome's performance as Smush. Oh my gosh, he did great. I didn't expect anything less from him. Honestly, I've seen him in Moonlight. You know, he was also in the short limited series When They See Us, which is based on the Central Park 5, aka the Exonerated 5. Yeah, he did a wonderful performance as he did in the previous films, and I just gotta applaud him because he did a great job in this film. Also, another thing that I liked about this film, the multitude of shots at golden hour, all right? It just made the film so pretty. Everybody loves golden hour. If you don't like golden hour, then you're weird, okay? And if you do love golden hour, then you're gonna like watching this movie because there's a lot of shots at golden hour. There's just something about that sun setting that sets the mood for a lot of these scenes, and it's really nice. Now, here are some things that I didn't like. Not gonna lie, the movie gets off to a pretty slow start. If you're not a fan of movies that take a little time to get into, then you might not like this film, okay? And this movie took about 30 or so minutes to get into, and I didn't know exactly what was going on. That leads me into my second thing I didn't like was I was not sure of Cole's motivations in this film. I was like, what are his goals? All right. You know, I've had a screenwriting class. I've watched a ton of movies, a ton of shows. You know, it's always about, most times it's about, because, you know, High Maintenance is a show that exists. And sometimes you just don't like what, but yeah, most shows and movies, the main character has a motive, has a goal that they are trying to reach, and then they face different obstacles. In this, I wasn't really sure what Cole was trying to accomplish in this movie. I guess one person could say maybe his motivation was to patch things up with his dad. I really don't think that that is the case because he was very reluctant to hang out with his dad a lot of times in this movie. Now, the thing that I loved about this movie was that they used actual Fletcher Street writers such as Ivana Mercedes, who played Esha, or Isha, and Jamil Prattis is Paris. Also, another thing that I loved about this movie was the self-containment. If you actually watch this movie, you will notice that there are not many background characters in this at all right? This movie takes place in North Philadelphia, yet there's only like a cast of maybe 15 people that you see on screen. And the self-containment reminds me of old school Westerns, yet this Western is in a modern environment. You're not seeing outside of their small environment, which I think is great. That self-containment really adds to the atmosphere and just adds a little je ne sais quoi to the movie. I don't know what that word actually means, but I'm just gonna say it because I want to. This isn't a movie that I loved per se, but I definitely appreciate its existence. I'm really loving these new age black films like Moonlight, Us, Get Out, no, not Antebellum. Yeah, I wasn't rocking with that. I'm sorry. And Sorry to Bother You, among others. Now, from the blaxploitation era to hood dramas in the 90s to the funny but bad comedies of the 2000s to the blossoming era we have today. The transformation is really nice to see, and I'm excited to see what comes out next. Now, I know some black people have expressed that they don't like black trauma films, i.e. 12 Years a Slave, but this movie is not that. This truly behaves as a modern Western in my eyes. Also, the emphasis on the Fletcher Street Urban Writing Club should not be understated. If you didn't know by now, the club serves as the inspiration for this film. Well, technically, the movie is based off of the novel Ghetto Cowboy, which is inspired by the writing club in North Philadelphia. Now, if you were actually intrigued about this club, you would be happy to know that in real life, they actually acquired the deeds to a vacant lot in North Philadelphia to continue their traditions and activities. So yes, they're doing pretty good right now. Now, to be honest, I'm not really surprised about cowboys in the North because I am from New York, I'm from Long Island, but Western New York exists. Western New York is a different, it's different. All right, so I'm not surprised because there's probably some cowboys out there. But cowboys in North Philly, though, I didn't expect that. And for that reason, I'm definitely going to be looking more into this club. Hello? You have the wrong number.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to give this movie a 7.25. Yeah, if you were expecting more, I'm sorry about that. Like I said earlier, there were things that I loved about this film, and there were also things that I did not like. Caleb McLaughlin's performance was decent, but Jarrell Jerome stole the show. Like, can more movies please cast this man? All right, he's been in Moonlight. He's been in When They See Us. He's got the chops. just cast them, please. So yeah, if you're into black films like these, if you're into westerns, I definitely recommend this film. If you're into dramas as well, I definitely recommend this film. If you're not into dramas, if you're not into movies that are at a slower pace, I don't recommend this movie for you. All right, I'm just gonna keep it real. But I think this movie is pretty good. I did enjoy it for the most part. And yeah, that's all I got to say about this film. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. More videos on the way. And as always, it's been another Picante J video. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Bowling too hard through the net, swish. I'm coming with the heat, you need protection. You'll be doomed if you enter my section. Yeah, I'm coming.